Hey traders, checking in on the stock market today. Not a whole lot of reaction to the debate last night, if you want to call it that. We had a very strong start to the morning in most sectors, and then a big drop to some headline reactions in the middle of the day, and we'll see where that leaves us as we head into the rest of the week. Please like, share, and subscribe, and I'll be back with some charts in just a moment. Hello, and thanks for checking out ChartGuys.com. We're proud to be one of the most successful technical analysis communities online, teaching you the skills to become a more confident, effective, and informed trader. Join our community of hundreds of analysts worldwide working together to learn the charts, generate profit, and achieve financial independence. For access to daily live chart analysis and market coverage, a thriving chat community, along with dozens of hours of exclusive educational materials. We look forward to seeing you. Let's check out some charts. So starting off with SPY, we can see we had a really strong day today, but we ended with an upper wick showing us profit taking, and the bulls had complete control of the trend. You can see on the 5-minute time frame, the vast majority of the morning, pre-market into the open, into lunch, and then the weakness came on the headline reaction just after 2 p.m. So the headline reaction is essentially decreasing the odds that a deal is reached on a stimulus bill. And seeing how significant the reaction is, that tells me that some of the bull move up was obviously pricing in the potential of that deal being reached. So the market was a bit surprised when there was a step back. I'm not sure why, but it was. And we saw the bots and the algos and the volume react to it. So what stood out for the strong bulls in the first hour of trading, and you've heard me, if you've been watching these videos many times, talk about how, we want to watch when all of our sectors are doing the same thing at the same time. And when it's to the downside, it's notable when all sectors are at their lows at the same time. And this morning, it was notable that all of our sectors were at their high of the day at the same time. When you have the scenario where QQQ is up, but XLF is pulling back and inverse, that's when there's rotation going on. But when you have everybody going in one direction, that's when there's conviction and follow through, and that's when the biggest gains are seen in either direction that it's going. And today it was for the bulls. So the headline came out, obviously a very significant reaction, but again, as always, we need follow through. This is the bears sucker punching the bulls, catching them off guard, and now the question is, can they follow through? So looking at it on the S&P 500 futures chart, one thing that I'm going to be watching is, do we see an hourly lower high and lower low in the overnight session? Because right now, I would consider anything above 33.07 as an hourly higher low. So the odds favor an hourly higher low forming on this pullback on the reaction to the headlines. I would then expect an hourly lower high to be the next most likely scenario from there. The question is, can the bears confirm an hourly downtrend before the bell rings tomorrow? Another thing that I'm watching on the 4-hour time frame is a rising wedge, because we broke resistance and didn't see a whole lot of follow through. So I would be watching this support line, this resistance line, and if we pull back but maintain the 4-hour higher low by holding the low of last night, then we will stay in this potential rising wedge pattern a bit longer. So I like this 4-hour time frame on the futures chart, and we'll see what the hourly chart does in the overnight trading. Bigger picture, weekly time frame. If this is as significant a bounce as we are going to see, we pulled back. I'm going to use SPY because it's easier for me to do that math in my head. But we went from essentially 359 down to 319, $40 drop. And the bounce was pretty much to the 50% retracement mark. So that does leave the possibility for a weekly higher low to try and form if this is our top. We're in an area with tech sector names and SPY and XLV, XLF where it's a bit tricky as far as clarity on the daily trend. For example, would you consider this a daily trend change, a quick little higher low and then continuation? For me, that's not really enough. And whenever there's a lack of clarity, you just always play around with different time frames. So I condense SPY down to the 2-day time frame. I can see that on this bounce, it's just a lower high. I can see that we still need a clear higher low and higher high for a convincing shift in momentum. And it just gives me a little bit of a better picture than the daily time frame gives me. Because again, that little stutter step as to whether or not that's a daily trend change or not, it very clearly is not on the 2-day time frame. So that's what we're watching on SPY. Is our weekly lower high being set? And we would need to see a bear break of 331.62 for us to start considering that possibility. QQQ. So QQQ is a bit more clear. We already changed the daily trend, and I know that on any pullback, anything above 261.22 is just a daily high or low. So we have tons of space to maintain this daily uptrend, but what the pullback looks like, if we get bear follow through, determines probabilities. If we pull back to 260 or 270, then the daily uptrend bulls keep favor. If we pull back to 265, that's a bit of a red flag because we know a daily lower high is then increases probability due to the size of the pullback, and that would increase the probability that our weekly lower high is already being set. So what the daily consolidation looks like and the amount of volume behind it can give us clues as to shifting the probabilities. We look bigger picture first, and our question is our weekly lower high being set? We don't have that answer right now. All we have is probabilities, and those probabilities will change based on what the daily consolidation looks like the next time we see it play out. IWM has not topped out just yet. If we break the low of today, tomorrow, our daily lower high will be set. But again, there's plenty of space for a daily higher low as the bulls will attempt to set up a daily trend change as this move is coming off the low. XLV held on the best out of all of our major sectors. I was watching the sectors react to that headline drop, and it was XLF and QQQ clearly weaker, and XLV held on much better. You look at the XLV hourly chart, there's no red flags there whatsoever. So nice job by the bulls holding on in the healthcare sector. And again, same thing. Is this a daily trend change? Not enough for me. I'm going 2-day time frame, high, low, lower low. Anything under 107.08 is a lower high. And we're in a time period right now, I said this during the live stream today, where I'm seeing clarity on 2-day time frames on Tesla and NVDA, a lot of names. I don't normally use the 2-day time frame often at all. Even Bitcoin and oil, I'm looking at the 2-day time frame for clarity. So something about the current market environment, for me, 2-day time frame is where it's at, just to have a clear glimpse of what's going on. And on a name like XLV, even if we do set this lower high, the bulls will then attempt the inverse head and shoulders setup for the attempted trend change. So as far as I'm concerned, 2-day time frame is where it's at, and we're looking for a lower high on XLV, and we will need the trend change for follow through. XLF, same deal. Looking for the lower high on this bounce, and then we'll watch for the attempt at a daily or a 2-day higher low once we top out. You can see the bounce is much weaker on XLF than it is on XLV. Let's see what QQQ looks like on the 2-day chart as well. Resistance 282.20, topped out below that level today. So pretty much most names seeing resistance at or just under where the original bounce from the original pullback topped out before we had confirmed the daily downtrend. Biotech sector, looks like the daily lower high has been set. The bears will have to follow through by breaking the low of today, tomorrow. This is one chart where the daily chart is fine for me for clarity. We're looking for the lower high. We will then look for the higher low compared to 105.89 and equilibrium setting up. That's what we're going to be watching for on XBI. Wasn't intending on covering tan, but we can see this breakout is continuing. The bulls are on absolute fire. We certainly don't want to be making any bullish entries at this point. 3 gap up open, bearish reversal pattern at this point. That pattern does not mean we are red on the 3rd gap up open day. It's the 4th day, tomorrow, where we have to see a bearish reversal candle to confirm that the bulls have overextended themselves and that we're due for some healthy consolidation. SMH, Semiconductors, 174.74 resistance did break. But again, if we just condense it to the 2-day chart, we can see, yes, we broke the lower high. We are similar to the tech sector, but stronger. And we need a higher low compared to 164.10 next time we consolidate. MU had a bearish reaction to earnings. AMD and NVDA held up well for bulls. So again, everybody is watching the 2-day time frame. I should say all sectors, myself watching all sectors on the 2-day time frame, needing the trend change. We're considering the possibility, it's absolutely possible, that our weekly lower highs are being set. But if I'm going to start shifting probabilities for that to be the more likely scenario, I need solid bear volume and follow through on hourly downtrends. Sucker punch has been had. Now do we see follow through and lower highs and lower lows doing regular trading hours? The VIX still holding this base, 2480, 2490, and 2510. So 2-day time frame has clarity on the VIX for me more than the daily chart. High, low, lower, high, trying for the higher low to hold support. Tightening range remains intact. Dollar is trying to form its daily higher low. Pretty decent pullback at this point from the high of this bounce. 4-hour trend change will be needed. We confirmed a 4-hour bear flag. Not a ton of follow through, but anything under 94.19 keeps the 4-hour downtrend intact and keeps the bears in control of that downtrend. So we don't have a setup right now in the 4-hour chart for the trend change. And the bulls have work to do to try and set this daily higher low. Gold and silver are pretty much the exact opposite. Gold is rejecting from daily exponential resistance at this point, but still just holding on to this 4-hour support. Double bottom at 1881. Break 1881 support, and the daily consolidation is going to get follow through. And the question then will be, can we hold our low of 1848? Aggressive bulls will be scaling in, using 1848 as a stop, hoping for a daily trend change, which would give a great entry. Bulls that scale in and are wrong, if we drop to lower lows, not a whole lot of loss if the stop loss is used. So daily lower high, potentially being set, exponential resistance, and we can see silver is already a more convincing pullback than gold, so that tilts the probability on gold, increases a bit that we're going to see some daily pullback there as well. Same question, can the bulls form a higher low compared to 2166 and set up a potential daily trend change attempt? And that's what we're going to be looking for over the next couple of days. Miners already started their daily pullback as well. They saw a solid bounce off that low of the day. But knowing that gold has not pulled back and consolidated yet on the daily time frame, that tells us to keep an eye out for the potential that the miners need some further pullback as well. But the miners have plenty of space to be watching for a daily higher low compared to 3708 and trying to set up the daily trend change attempt. So again, just like I talked about with our sectors at the start of this video, the size of this pullback tells us probabilities as to whether a daily trend change remains favorable or if the pullback is too significant, and either a lower low or tightening range then becomes the more likely scenario. If this were as much as we were going to pull back, the daily trend change stays favorable. But again, gold hasn't started its daily consolidation yet, so not confident yet in those miners. Oil had a very solid bounce from a very weak day yesterday, inside bar today. Bullish reaction to the inventory report. I'm liking the, let's look at the 2-day, but I think I like the weekly better. I do. So the weekly is better for clarity for me. High, low, lower high, and bulls trying for a higher low compared to 3658. What do we need for that weekly higher low to be set? A daily trend change back in favor of the bulls, and the daily chart's a bit choppy right now, so we don't have a clear path to that daily trend change just yet. Natural gas trying for its daily higher low. Nice solid close. 4-hour bear flag confirmed with no follow through, straight into a significant bounce. When this 4-hour move tops out, we will be looking for a 4-hour higher low compared to 1904. And the bulls are attempting to set that daily higher low, and we know we would have to break 219 to confirm the daily trend change from here. So, just to summarize, S&P 500 futures chart overnight. Can the bears confirm a clear hourly lower high and lower low? From there, we're watching that 4-hour potential rising wedge on that futures chart. And that's pretty much what I'm watching into tomorrow. And we'll have to keep an eye on the headlines as to the potential possibility or lack thereof for a stimulus deal. Clearly, the market's showing us it wants a stimulus deal. And we'll see if we get it. Hope you have a good rest of your day. We'll see you live tomorrow. Not live. Maybe some of you live. We'll see Dinsey tomorrow. See you recorded tomorrow. Do good things. I'm out of content, so we're going back to the ChartGuys meetup from last year. Certainly missing the opportunity to have another meetup this year, but hopefully next year things will get back in order and we can do it again.